Today's session we are going to have around crafting digital brands, and I'm very quickly going to invite guests. So Jaideep is already here, and let me really quick just give me a moment to introduce other guests. So Kumar Manish, I have invited you on stage. Um, Udit Goenka, you have been invited to the stage. Just bear with me. You would have to get your mic and video on so that you get visible on the stage. Um, in a while, we would have Manoj and K. Nasha also um, joining in. So let's start with today's session. Udit is here. Uh, I think Manoj Advani is not yet here, but once he's here, and Kena as well. So great. Okay, Kumar Manish is here. All right, everyone. Let's get started with this. So crafting brands digital, and we are going to have various perspectives. Today we have amazing lineup of speakers who definitely excel in different kind of activities as it relates to building brands digitally. So Jaideep Parikh, who runs an agency called Tate Soul Pro, he has been into SEO and organic side of the house for the longest period of time. I've personally known him for more than 10 years now, but I know that he has been in this industry for, I think, more than a decade, probably about 15, 17 years is what it is. So thank you so much, Jaideep Bhai, for joining. Udit is another gem we have today. So Udit Goenka runs multiple companies. He is very popular in scaling personal brand along with the companies online. Udit is very savvy with AI and new age technology. So we'll be having some perspective around AI and how AI can help scaling brands digitally over there. Kumar Manish, another great veteran. Kumar is represents more from the journalism side and public affairs sector. Kumar runs a platform widely popular called Communicate Karo, and Kumar has dropped off, but I think he should join back. All right, he's here. So K Manish, again a very dear friend and obviously a blue tick holder at various platforms for the longest period of time.
OG
So
Bluetooth holder.
that podium for the LinkedIn influencer. And then finally, we have Manoj Advani, who currently has also started his AI company called Narad.io, but he has been very aggressive and proven veteran in growth hack and very famously holding his podcast and video series, Vani with Advani. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we'll keep it more informal. So for the audience's sake, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop the questions in the Q&A section, then we'll try to address those. We don't want to make the session very boring, so we are not going by the script. We would rather be having very conversational or fluid conversation. With that, if I may ask, so the first thing first, obviously, most of us are startups and MSMEs, and we're trying to make a mark, in the business fraternity. The most important thing, and how the big brands who have a lot of dime in their marketing budgets to go after the conventional channels, hoardings, outdoor hoardings, or TV or radio. The startups in particular love the digital space because you can one really target your niche without broadly spray firing, and so the usage of your dime is much sharper, and obviously for the reason that it doesn't take a lot of money to actually start building or at least get started with building your brand digitally, right? So having that context in mind will will kind of drive our conversations along the lines which is more startup and small business friendly. I would start that with I think we'll kind of go from the personal to business, right? And so I'll start with Manoj Advani, and how you have been doing your personal branding, the series of podcasts. If you can kind of very quickly share your expertise, so the audience kind of get relevant questions come in the Q&A. Manoj, if you can start with your brief introduction along with your insights into how did that whole thing got planned, executed, and what's your take on early start in digital?
Yep. So, hi Srijay. First of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity where I can talk about myself and how I have been doing. And I'm really grateful to speak beside Jaideep, Udit, and Kumar Manish. I know them personally and good friends. So, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I'll tell you why. I think I'm the only one in this panel जिसने 14 साल नौकरी करी है, and I don't think anyone else is here who has done 14 years का नौकरी and then jumped into the startup or business.
10 years.
Yeah, so at least so I'm on the higher side.
Some of us do not even have that much of a career length.
all,
We might just sound a little younger
all,
by
all of
saying
a
that.
sudden, I'm feeling younger now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that exactly what happened is like after spending 14 years and specifically with all with the bigger corporates, Capgemini, Cognizant, Barclays, there was always a tag along with my name that someone would ask me what you do. I would like, okay, developer at Capgemini. Okay, what you do? So and so at Cognizant. What you do? I'm a VP at Barclays. Eventually, one day you leave the job and your identity is gone. And that's what exactly happened to me when I left my job, started my own thing, and live back in Surat. People didn't knew me. Like I didn't knew anyone. No one knew me. And so I was like, even if I have to prove myself, it is so much of मशक्कत हर बार जाके बताना पड़ता है कि भाई मैं एक्स बार्कलेज हूँ. आई एम लाइक ऐसे नहीं चलेगा यार. I cannot start my introduction every time. And that's what I was like, how can I do it? Then I was like, the podcasting, so generally people famous लोगों को बुलाते हैं podcast. I was like, अपने को तो कोई बुलाएगा भी नहीं. बिकॉज़ अभी अपन इतना फेमस नहीं है ना, अपन ने सिर्फ नौकरी किया है. आई एम येट टू put my mark onto the startup space or business thing or entrepreneur thing. Then I was like, okay, if someone is not calling me, how would I start calling people?
Correct.
I can do the reverse. Nothing big in it. And eventually, what worked well is that coming from kind of a background, I was very fortunate because I worked with so bigger brands. So at least I had that authenticity with me that I could still understand, though I have not been an entrepreneur, but I still understand the business language. So that's how I started with Advani. That there will always be my name with it, Manoj Advani, Vani with Advani. And I started that series, okay, that everyone is talking to the entrepreneurs in the big cities. How about Surat? How about Ahmedabad? How about Indore? How about, smaller cities? So
Correct.
actually, I tried to do two things. One, 100%. I really, because all these friends of mine, those who I know in Surat and Ahmedabad, and I think there's a very fun story to it. जब तक I was in Singapore, I used to feel अपन ही राजा है. अपने को ही सब पता है because घर से निकल गए, इंजीनियर बन गए, गॉट अ जॉब इन कैपजेमिनी, कॉग्निजेंट और मैं बार्कलेज पहुंच गया. आई वाज लाइक आई नो एवरीथिंग. द डे आई कम बैक टू सूरत, आई स्टार्टेड मीटिंग दिस एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. आई वोंट टेक नेम्स क्योंकि फिर आधों का नाम लूंगा, नहीं लूंगा तो ड्रॉप हो जाएगा. एवरीवन इज मेकिंग मिलियंस इन सूरत अहमदाबाद. आई एम लाइक साला अपन क्या कर रहे हैं. And that's where I realized it's not necessary to leave the home or country to make something big. So these were the two bigger inspirations for me to start my podcast. That one, yes, I wanted to tell the stories. That who are these people, even sitting in their hometowns, they have really made some good business, raised some good money, and trying to do good stuff. And second, yes, I also wanted here where I can make mark for myself. If I'm going to next session, if I'm going to a next meetup, be it in Surat or anywhere, I don't have to introduce myself. At least वो part sorted होना चाहिए. So at least a basic introduction हो जाना चाहिए. उसके बाद का तो you can always build up based on your thing. And trust me, that things have helped me a lot in Narad.io. And I'll tell you a milestone. Narad.io, we got 1,000 followers in LinkedIn on 90 days. On LinkedIn, it's not Instagram.
Brilliant.
And anyone I talked to, they said it's very difficult to get 1,000 followers on LinkedIn. And that's true. अभी तक तो ब्रांड का वेबसाइट भी ढंग से नहीं बना है.
Nice.
So this has been story so far, Shreya. I think along the line, might be I'll share more insights. Thanks for that.
Absolutely. No, that is brilliant, and I've personally been following your work, and thoroughly impressed. Very particularly because a lot of people are camera shy and they don't really have that ability to uh, sort of be camera present
Yeah.
at a lot of times, right? So we'll talk a little more about that, right? How to get better at it, and things. Talking about not getting on camera, Kumar Manish, we have seen you communicating a lot through text, on Twitter, your opinions, the word of wisdom, raising people's voice, and it has been phenomenal, right? I mean, the way um, that this whole snowball effect comes with that. So your take on, um, and then we have not seen you a lot on video format, right? So your opinion on that, how do you see that? Do you see that changing in future, given that visuals are now probably trending? You know the algorithms better than I do.
Yes, thanks, Srijay. First of all, I love this whole interface of which you have created. It looks very minimalistic and very better than Zoom, I think. And so, congratulations to your whole team, and good to see Jaydeep, Udit, and Manoj. So yes, I think these days Jatin is asking me not to start my podcast, but video is something is very difficult. Udit is quite doing it. I have been seeing his videos and all. So maybe someday I get motivated to start doing it because I love words, and because now words have certain kind of a power, and because when you read something, actually you are very much focused into that particular text, and when you read something, you are very much
Sorry, I think he got dropped off. I could see his signals were a little weak, but we'll catch up with that thought. I think he's back.
hello.
Yeah, we have you back now.
Yes. Okay. So where I dropped.
Um, so you were saying that at some point in time you might consider getting to
Yes.
videos, but the words
Okay.
are very powerful, and so
Yes.
When
that's
you
Yes.
were
your
saying
Just
you
a
were
take on
shy
that
second.
on
question.
video and you dropped off.
Yes. So yes, video is something very interesting. I think today only there was some guy, I think Gagan, who wrote a very nice, interesting post on LinkedIn, highlighting that why LinkedIn are pushing video content on the platform, because LinkedIn is a one platform which is more about where people professionals taking time out from their daily work and writing content. And it's a very expert driven kind of a thing, while creator is creating content all day long. So it's quite two different. So that's why he mentioning about that post, and I really appreciate that idea. Of course, because we are we are living in attention economy. Everyone is looking for your attention, and of course video grabs your attention, and maybe it's but again, video is also something which you can easily scroll down. If you don't like first 2 seconds, you simply scroll down, the whole effort is gone. But in text, I think there's a much more engagement, much more involvement. So I used to be a journalist, and then I come into development sector, social media and communication. So in that particular context, I think no, the words have a lot of much more power, and of course, it have a lot of engagement with the audience, because and as you rightly mentioned, I've been using this Urban Voices as a platform where we highlight civic issues and social issues to talk about, whether it's on walking infrastructure or public transport and all. So, and I see there's a lot of people are also started talking about, which was not earlier the case. So these platforms gives you a opportunity to express your opinion and also build a community around it. I hope I'm audible, Jaydeep, because Srijay is gone.
You're audible.
Hello.
Okay,
Okay, okay.
who is the new host?
I can be the new host. So that has been working for me. Like for example, Udit and I were also part of this LinkedIn Creators Fellow, where I created content more on sustainability part, sustainable mobility, whether it's on cycling, whether it's on public transport, whether it's on walking. So that gave a different experience altogether, and it also gave me a lot of work opportunities also. So there are a lot of foundations and NGOs. They reached out to me in terms of, because they wanted their social media not to be presented in a certain way, and because I work in that space, it's easy for them to connect with me and my style, and they also want on their platform. So in that ways it really works. So personal branding maybe starts from a perspective of building your own brand, but in the process you also start finding other avenues now which can be explored for monetary gain. Yes,
Correct.
over to you, CJ.
Brilliant. So talking about personal branding, Jaideep Parikh. So Tetsuol Pro is apparently not as known as the handle Jaideep Baba, and there is a lot of I think commercial angle to that as well, wherein people associate that with your expertise and the boutique style of the servicing nature, as compared to it being a larger agency where everybody can come in and avail services. So is it intentional? That is the first question. The second is how that differs from an agency that is trying to build a brand. So let's say there are popular agencies out there, and you might not know the founder, and you, as an agency, you represent yourself, right? Which obviously is a scalable model, but at the same time, while you are seeking for that initial work, a lot of times people they try to assess the expertise of the founder, right? And they expect the servicing to be more in the boutique style. So how do you craft your messaging around it, Jaideep? If you can chime in for that.
Yeah, thanks, Vijay, and thank you all of the speakers for joining this thing. So, as per the first question, so it is intentional. Yes, it is intentional because when we say branding, brand needs some face, either a founder's face or either logo. For example, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, people know that brand by their logo, but there's some visual appealing there when we talk about branding. So that was intentional, and we need to grow as a brand the level of higher agencies or any big agency like that. So it might take time. So during the phase, I mean, we discuss internally what we can do or kya kar sakte hai. So during that time the Baba things were going on, so then we started doing Jaideep Baba things, and it went viral. As well as whenever I end up, so I participate in lot many events, so people know me as a Baba more compared to the agency owner, so that helps me more. And many of my friends, like, I mean, few of friends, they keep save my number as an only Baba. So this is how the personal branding works, and this is how it went well for us. And second question was, I have, and one more thing I want to add. So if you know the founder by any brand, any D2C, B2C agency, any brand, so your customer acquisition cost will goes down because it improve your trust factors. So your convincing your sales cycle will reduce as people know the some visual. I mean, like Coca-Cola as a logo, Jaideep Parikh as an individual. So people can associate it with that brand themselves, and that is why your customer acquisition cost goes down. I hope I answer both of your questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we also have a quick poll on that. Let's see how our users react to that. Getting along the lines, Udit, you have been, as a personal brand, you've been promoting a lot. You have your views around AI, you have your views around building businesses. You have also been involved in multiple businesses. So how easy or difficult it is if you are building a personal brand to associate that with multiple businesses. So I face that challenge as well, because I associate with Hire for Hire. Some of us know, that being a D2C acceleration brand versus LegalViz, which is more popular within the Indian context. So a lot of times I personally feel I personally feel what should be prioritized, and how your name gets tagged primarily to one brand versus a lot that you are trying to justify.
Great question, Shrey. Thank you so much for having me over here. So, it's a very tricky question, right? Because when you build a personal brand, you also end up becoming a support person. You also end up becoming a go-to person. You also end up becoming a marketing person. You end up becoming everything for the company. So, there's pros and cons for everything, right? Uh, you should only focus on building a personal brand if you know you have figured out your niche. So for the last 17 years since I've been working, tech has been my field. I've never went out of tech. I have not started, let's say, a D2C. I've not started, I've not gotten into any kind of services, for an example. I've always been a product guy for pretty much my entire life. And that identity has really helped me because every time I build something new, people know that I have built something new in the tech category itself. So the transition for me becomes a lot more easier, but that doesn't mean that if you don't have personal branding, you cannot sell, right? My first two companies that I had built and I have successfully exited from, both of those companies were, I did not had any personal brand, right? I think my LinkedIn probably had what, like 10 connections. My Twitter had like 100 followers, and they were probably my friends and family, right? There were no one else following me. And I think pretty much most of the business that I generated was through either cold emails or through partnerships, traditional methods, doing offline workshops. That's how I pretty much ended up doing, generating all of my business. So, what I would always suggest is that you should always first prioritize for generating business for your business, and then focus on personal branding, because personal branding doesn't guarantee any kind of business coming in. Versus if you just focus on sales aggressively during the initial stages, then in that case, sales is something that can be guaranteed, and sales is the heart of your organization. So, I would always prioritize sales over personal branding if you're just starting out. Now, once you have hit certain plateau, or once you have hit certain KPIs, so for example, you have told your team that, hey, let's hit $10,000 or $15,000 in sales initially. After that is when I will start focusing on personal branding if I've never ever focused on personal branding. The reason behind that is I would exactly know by the time I reach $10,000 $15,000 in MRR, I would exactly know whom am I selling, why am I selling, why someone is buying from me, what is the exact problem statement that I'm solving. And once I have these, and then I start creating content around the same, I can now start scaling up. It's kind of like um, three layers in terms of growing any business, and this is something that I've always utilized, and it has worked out for me. First, start with sales. Then you go ahead and start doing personal branding, and if you're able to achieve scalability, then start with performance marketing, because now you have completed the entire scaling loop, which is very essential. It is irrespective whether you're selling a product or whether you're selling a service, it doesn't matter, but this loop can be fully accomplished if you focus on these things. I'll give you a very quick example, Shijay. So I recently launched a legal tech platform known as Niyam.ai. So we were very quiet for the first 2 months. No one knew except for our TG, our target audience, which were lawyers and law firms initially, and some MSMEs. So we reached out to them very privately. We did not make any noise. We started onboarding them. We All we did was we sent out a LinkedIn request, and we did a cold email, and some of the users from our own network, some of the our own personal connections. Now, once we onboarded close to around 200 of them, we started working very closely with all of those 200 people. We started getting very interesting feedbacks on the product itself. What we thought would be incredible was very difficult for them, and then we started simplifying the entire product. Now, once we were able to do that, I launched it on a national platform, and from there I started pushing it through my personal brand. Now the scalability literally went from 200 to like 1,000 signups in a matter of just 5 days of the launch. Now, during this 5 days, we saw our server crash twice. Now, imagine if I were to run ads on these and my servers were crashing, I would be making Mark Zuckerberg even more rich than I would be, right? So
Okay.
now, because I'm doing personal branding, what is happening is I'm also turning all of the failures in the journey as a story. So now I'm using my failure as a content in my product journey. So now people are seeing me that my contents are extremely authentic, because I'm not just talking about success all the time, right? Because anyone who
Right.
talks about success all the time is actually faking it to make it, right? But when you start talking about failing, This is where vulnerability happens, and when you start sharing vulnerabilities with people, that's when you connect. So now what started happening was people started giving us live feedback. So out of those 1,000 users, we started getting a lot of paid customers, and those customers ended up becoming our beta users. They were literally commenting live feedbacks, do this, do this. You can go and check my comments, right?
Nice.
And now I told my team, go and fix it because I need to start running ads right away. So now, as we are fixing all of those issues in a matter of just week or two, now that I've figured out my exact TG and who is signing, I'm gonna accelerate that entire growth using performance marketing. So now I've completed that entire growth loop, right? So this concept is known as growth loop or product loop. Generally, you can use this same concept in service loop as well. This is how you really grow combined personal brand and then grow any sort of business from scratch. This is irrespective of what you are selling. I hope this works.
Oh, that is an excellent point, and I think the genuinity of the conversations and coupling that with the user-generated content. So having right set of feedbacks, contextually being correct, and improvising your product on that. That definitely is a full circle, and that's a great piece of advice for sure. So talking about that, and then Ken, I had a question for you. Um, a lot because you are from fashion.
Yeah.
Quick introduction: Kena Shah is a fashion stylist. She runs a D2C called Inara, and fashion at times is a little away um, from factuality in lack of better words, in the sense that what looks great on models, they typically do not look great on my kind of bodies, right? And so bringing um, that element in, um, how do you customize your messaging? Do you so while you are kind of scaling the D2C brand, is the approach more towards look beautiful, sell better, or is it more around create a genuine narrative, at times a little brutal, right? Some of the brands that we see, that go oversized clothing, and so some of the great examples that I have personally seen is a brand called Me Undies, which does underwears, and it is a phenomena. But a lot of for the longest period of time, their statement has been towards being an inclusive brand, right? So even their model girls would be, fat. They would be people from, people of color, ethnicities. So becoming more inclusive. So what's your take on that? How do you see, your brand scaling along those lines? And yeah, so your 2 cents on that.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. And the questions that you asked are very relevant. Even when I was starting with my brand, I had the same questions, but I was very true from the beginning itself, because for me, fashion is like my personality is about who I am as a person. So I have always been very brutally honest about, if somebody's coming to me, like even to my clients, like if I have a collection, I won't just for the sake of selling, I won't just tell that, oh, this is looking good, you should buy, this is the trend, this that. I have never done that, and I'm not even doing that in my personal one-on-one styling sessions. I always tell them that, this is the advice that I would like to give each and every gender. Like you said, that jo model pe acha lagta hai, it doesn't look, it might not look good on you. So always it's like, so fashion basically, I always tell people that fashion is all about proportions. There are no rules. अगर आप proportion से right खेलते हो तो कोई भी, no matter if you are healthy or you are thin or you are petite, you can even wear colors, any kind of colors you can wear any kind of style. It's just that you need that proportion and balance. तो मैं हमेशा एक शॉपिंग टिप देती हूँ लोगों को कि जब भी आप जो हैंग हो रहा है तो उसको देख के यू जो डोंट स्टार्ट जजिंग, फर्स्ट वेयर इट, सी कि व्हाट इज द बॉडी पार्ट दैट यू आपको एनहांस करना है या तो डी एम्फसाइज करना है, ऑन बेसिस ऑफ दैट यू बाय. इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि सेल आया, ऑफ मिल रहा है तो बाय कर लो. एंड दैट इज वेयर माय पर्सनल स्टाइलिंग कम्स इनटू पिक्चर, because we analyze a lot, when we have like when people opt for full transformation, what we do is we have different sessions like lifestyle analysis hai, body analysis hai, shopping kaise karne ki, and there are a lot of deep, festive wear categories, there are a lot of things. So that is where my role comes into play. But I'm very brutal and I'm very honest with people, and I feel that, it's just that ab kya hai, sabke paas paisa hai. And this fashion field bolo, see, paisa sabke paas hai, and we gujjus to have lots of money whether you agree or not. But the thing is कि पैसा है पर वो सही जगह पे यूटिलाइज नहीं हो रहा है. That is the problem, and that is what, I've written that on my Instagram bio also, that I'm on a mission to, like, help people, especially females, to create, to create n number of looks, like easy styling मुझे करवाना है, मुझे I want to guide them. So I'm on a mission कि 10,000 in 2 months I want to do it.
Makes sense.
And when it comes,
So-
I really,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I really can connect with Udit, because he said, so I have tried, Shrijit, I have tried both the aspects when it comes to branding. मैंने personal branding भी किया, मैंने, like without personal branding also I started with Inara before. But at that point of time I was very new, so I am a management grad throughout. So, it was a battle altogether, coming from a whole different background and starting from zero again. So I have had my bad times as well in finding tailors, Master G, because I was not technically pro with things before. Now with the experience and me being in the business of fashion for like 4 or 5 months plus, so now I have, like, I've started understanding things in a different way. But so during, like, when I was not using personal branding at that point of time, my sales, like, they were not that great. They were there because I know my products and people love the product that I make. So my products, if you'll see in Nara's product, we are very different. So our concept is one design, one piece. That is our, like, USP. कि एक जन ने ले लिया तो आप दूसरे किसी को, it's that way, it's very inclusive. You will feel that exclusivity, you'll feel that premium about the products and the fabrics that we use and everything. But when we started personal styling, like, for me, I always believe that, पहले value लोगों में add करो, दो, उसके बाद you expect people to buy and come. That is how I always operate, and that's why I've started with, because I have knowledge now, so I've started with one-on-one styling session where we educate people. And if people want to go, deep dive ki bhai bahut samajhna hai personal styling and everything to look, because see, before you speak, how you look is going to matter, like it is going to speak words, like how your appearance and everything. And the market, I feel, is going to be booming in the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And so now we'll do a quick round, and very, very honest opinions on that. I'm going to seek from each one of you on the same question. Is 60 seconds you would have on describing one of the most creative campaign outreach. It could also be a blog post or anything, but that got you traction. There is always that one moment where you say that kal tak I was ordinary and today I am a little more than ordinary, right? What that was, how did you conceptualize that, and what do you think that worked for you in that context? So I'll just start with myself, and I'll give you one that I really like. Is one fine day we had this conversation on what that we could do around women entrepreneurship, and very fortunately it was around Navratri, and I'm talking about probably 7 years back. And so there was an ideation where we created 9 different posts or series of posts on LinkedIn and other platforms where each day empowers or each day symbolizes a particular goddess, and they have certain superpowers, right? So some have rigor, some have other qualities. And so we identified similar personas amongst women entrepreneurs who are popular or not. So it was a mix of some popular, some not. And for the rigor and hustle, we had picked Shraddha Sharma from Your Story, and we wrote an article about it. And somebody commented a story of a storyteller, and Shraddha happened to, I think, like that or comment on that, and it became a frenzy, right? Because now you have the vouching, and your reach is suddenly so massive. I'm talking about like very initial days of LegalViz, where there were barely a few hundred customers down, and very early days. So I think that's one example that I always remember, is when you make somebody else part of your story and it is genuine enough that it would appeal that person to become part of your story. That vouching matters a lot on social media in particular. So that's my story. We'll start with Kumar Manish.
Srijay, one second. A lot of people are saying that they cannot hear you. So just check
Oh, is
because
it? Okay.
a lot of people were saying that in the comment, like 3 people. So just check.
Just a second. Let me try and switch the internet. I might get dropped off a little bit, but I think in the meanwhile, if my question was conveyed, you guys can start on that. I'll try to switch the internet.
And
Pankaj bhai,
now
you
many
mentioned
people are saying you were audible.
So they are saying that they can hear me, but not Srijay.
Okay, I'll try to switch the internet connection though in the
I'm
meanwhile.
able to hear you though.
Okay. So maybe not from my side, but nonetheless, I'll still try and do that.
And maybe just refresh once. I think that should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kumar, you're a host.
Should I start?
You are our host again.
Okay.
So
Very
let me
good.
start
Yeah.
first. Yes. So, like for example, I think because I've been working with a lot of development agencies and non-profits, so we ran a campaign called Came Cho Periods in Gujarat context. Idea was simple, that how we can create more awareness about ministerial education, and what we did, we identified few women leaders, especially who are on social media. But coupled with that, we also did a lot of like activity like a flash mob. An idea was simple, how we can create conversation around it. And the best part that we did this almost for a whole month, different activities as a mix of online activation, offline engagement. And there was some suggestion from the government that they want to introduce this kind of education at the school level, and it was strategically done because we understand we need to talk to the mostly young people and how they can be part of the conversation and how we can engage with them. So we did, we just simply push basic content to them, and they were creating user generated content. So a lot of user generated content happening in a very organic manner. So we brought that call to action in our content, and we saw very good impact in that particular thing. So that's I feel very interesting campaign, and it also saw some kind of a result happening at the end of it.
Excellent. So just a quick follow-up question on that. You talked about the user-generated content. Did you do anything special to create that content, or it just happened because of the nature of the? I think Kevanish dropped out. We'll take that later. Jaideep Parikh will start with you then. 60 seconds. Best campaign you think got you the highlight?
So, I mean, as we are agency, we bound with lot many NDAs, so we'll share our internal example. I guess 2 or 3 years back, we shot an email with saying "Happy Diwali" as a subject line to our newsletter subscriber, and it was in June or July. And so generally in email, open rates are in 1 digit. I mean, 9-10% are the most. We got roughly 35% open rate in that email due to just subject line. And the content of the email was saying, if you want to plan, make your Diwali happy, then you should start opting any agency, not us, but any agency, to start promoting the things, opting SEO or opting PPC services, so your Diwali will be happy. So this was the messaging of the email, and we got lot many compliments as well as leads as well. And as far as Shraddha concerned, I have a testimonial of Shraddha Sharma. We used to work with Your Story. So after listening your example, I guess I should write a story about that as well to get more leads.
Yeah, that's all that we are trying to do, right? Is to get real life examples that people can replicate in their own frameworks. Obviously, not plagiarize, but it sort of gives everybody an opportunity to think, how those small efforts can lead to larger impacts.
Shraddha given video testimonial for our services, and I haven't used it wisely. So that I
So
need
there,
to
there
do.
you go. I'm going to charge you consulting for that. All right.
You have a UGC, Jaideep.
All right. Then we move on to Manoj Advani.
Yeah, so Srijay, actually, it was more of a discovery movement because, like, before I jumped into the startup space, I didn't have this Instagram account. I didn't exist on social media. LinkedIn was just for the namesake. So I this was a discovery moment. So what had happened, like, I was part of the GrowthX. I think lot of people will know GrowthX if they understand growth and product. So I was part of the eighth cohort, and as a part of the capstone, we were supposed to produce. Some advertisement materials. So uske pehle already 7th cohorts were done of the GrowthX with all the participants from all over India. Till the 8th cohort, everyone did this advertising campaign only in the term of graphics, infographic. But I was like, "Okay, let's do video," and my product was MFine. I remember for two things I used the video. One, to attract the audience in the first part of the capstone where we had to speak to the real audience and understand the feedback. And at the end, that how will you sell the product? We did the video content and it went viral like anything. In fact, MFine's CEO reached out.
Nice.
And GrowthX made, after that, eighth cohort, GrowthX made it compulsory. If these guys can do a video content in 3 weeks, now now every cohort has to do the video content. And till date, every time AP and UD, Abhishek Patel and UD, before every GX ka cohort ka capstone start, they say, okay, Manoj Advani did a video ad in GX8, and that's how we started it. So that was a discovery moment for यार अपने को video आता है मतलब I understand the creativity. So that was like but उससे मेरे को बहुत बड़ा star नहीं बन गया. But it was a discovery moment for myself, and that where I kicked on like okay अब और वीडियो बनाते हैं, ये करते हैं, वो करते हैं, podcast करते हैं, and eventually practice. Things have been going better. So it was a more of a discovery moment rather than becoming a star moment.
Brilliant. Absolutely. No, and just an extension to that is we work with a lot of international brands of very high repute. And what is very particularly now interesting for people is what we call a low fee videos, right? So, or low fidelity videos. So this is a genre where it doesn't have to be extremely polished or it doesn't have to be extremely edited,
Yeah.
right? So this is a great example. This session probably without much editing will go on YouTube as is, right? And there is a lot of consumer base for that. So I think getting started with videos, while a lot of people have a perception that videos might be very expensive,
Yeah.
there are also a lot of opportunities to create those low fidelity videos, and then with a bit of a help with AI and some basic editing work, I think it can be very cost effective, and you can also sound more genuine with that. Is what my 2 cents on that are. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that and just reinstating that it doesn't have to be a costly affair to kind of set up a video studio. Right, it can be as natural as shooting something on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
So that's
Actually, just to add on that, actually, what I experienced, it is not about the quality or the expense. Actually, most of the times it's about the consistency which people really miss. And I just want to share, like when I was starting my podcast, I had zero subscribers on YouTube, zero. But still, when I reached out to Alpino Peanut Butter, Chetan Kanani, I told him, Chetan, I want to start a podcast. Will you sponsor me? Because he had seen so many of my videos on LinkedIn, he was
right.
said, without a blink of an eye, I'll be the sponsor of season one. So I had a
Excellent.
sponsor with zero subscribers, and that
Nice.
shows. And it was only because I was consistent.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of consistency is people see your work, and because the digital work is there to stay for the longest period of
Yeah,
time rather than an outdoor hoarding or a newspaper ad, the longevity itself is so rewarding at times. If
yeah,
not popular today, there is a lot of repurposation that can happen in future.
Exactly.
We hope that you become a star, and this particular session also goes viral someday. Uh,
Sure.
so I think that's the beauty of timeless content.
Yeah.
Udit, quick question, obviously the same question to you, and then if you can also address one of the questions in the chat box, which is, so Sayam is asking how to find nano influencers for UGC content for a particular niche of D2C brands. I saw your LinkedIn post today where you are also looking for influencers for Niyam, and so I think you can bring context to that. With that, obviously, the previous question remains the same: 60 seconds. What's your one campaign that you think you executed really well, and that started a journey of uh, being a digital presence, uh, in your niche?
So I did not had any sort of personal brand until like COVID. I think I started working on my personal brand post COVID. And I think one of the best things people connect on is emotions. It can be any kind of emotion, right? As long as you can trigger someone's emotion, and the best way is to make someone laugh. If you can make someone laugh, you can sell them anything you want, right?
Absolutely.
So there's one campaign that I ran on Twitter, which was I took a very weird photo of mine and I posted on Twitter, and I told the Twitter community, create a meme out of it. Whoever creates the best meme, they would end up getting, let's say, a podcast mic, for example, worth 10,000 rupees, right? Or whatever they want until like 10,000 rupees on Amazon. I'll get them right away. That post went viral. I think hundreds and hundreds of people ended up creating, and people were like, "Who the heck is this guy?" Right? So people started looking up for me, and they started following me because of that, right? And then my profile was extremely like optimized, so I think I had about like 1,500 or so followers, and I went to almost 10 or 12,000 followers in just couple of days due to that particular campaign. So I think that was one campaign that really took off very well. And I did multiple things, but I think that is one campaign I would precisely say that went to perfection. And the cost to like success ratio was insane, right? I ended up spending only 10,000 rupees on the campaign. Ended up having close to around what, like 10, 11,000 followers overnight added on Twitter is no joke, right?
Wow.
It's the most difficult platform to crack as compared to any other platform.
That is so awesome, and I think that definitely is a hack. I don't know if I'm going to be as bold as you, but I think that is amazing. That's a story for sure. An extension to that, I think, when Indian rupee were to get symbolized, government also had UGC, and they welcomed people to kind of design the best that they could. So this is definitely one technique that has worked, I think, one too many times. And definitely in your case, if you've got thousands of followers, it's just insane. It's remarkable. Um, so that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, and with all the candidness. Kena, to you, what's that one thing? And then if you can also pick up one more question, which is related to Gen Z, and you might be able to connect better with that. Obviously, some of us are not as Gen Z or close. So Sonam is asking that she's millennial Gen Z. And how do you connect with that audience? And it is hard, it is complicated. Do you relate? What do you do to grab their attention? Obviously, Gen Z has a very specific preferences, low attention span. um, Something, it's a very binary game, right? It is not a shade of gray. So how does that work with fashion? If you can bring the context to that.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I'll talk about the campaign thing. So before it was Kena Shah label, and then after COVID, we rebranded it with, the whole model and everything to Inara. But we have not run, like we haven't ran any specific kind of campaign. But what we have done is, because I always believe in organic growth a lot, and now because now I was not getting that perfect, way of like how to go ahead and this and that. So I used to try lots of influencer marketing thing. but then I thought that, I'm just burning money. But it's just that the number games people do, and I was one of the, like I also got into that trap, that number, socha ki nahi, I will get lots of results from there and all, but it didn't work. Few of the influencers I worked with, wahan se, like I got lots of orders. So they really, three influencers worked really well for us. But meanwhile, I have been so, when it comes to networking, I have been so, like top notch in that game, that I meet lots of people. I'm in lots of communities, in Ahmedabad, and I do lots of one-on-one personal meeting. Like, I always believe that आप सबसे पहले ना, like, be a friend. You talk to them, know them, and then it becomes very easy to, for people to relate to you. So that is how, especially in females, and when it comes to fashion, this is how it goes. So with word of mouth, and especially word of mouth and networking has really helped me and my brand a lot. And I've been doing personal branding a lot. So because of that also, because people are seeing, like they mentioned, that consistency is the key. And I've been very authentic, and I educate a lot, which is like actually necessary. And that is where Sonam's question comes to play, like, because like, and I nowadays, like I get invited as a speaker to share my story, because I come from a management field, like how this transition and what were my problems and this and that. So when I go to GLS, when I go to Nirma University, or Narayan Business School, at that point of time, there are Gen Zs, right? So at that point of time, they now everybody loves fashion. It's just that they don't know कि कैसे करना है, how to. Everyone wants to look beautiful, okay? So, and budget में कैसे buy करना, how to style, how to look trendy, but at the same time how to, like stick to that personal style. This is something that I really value, and that is how I reflect, when it comes to creating a content. And because of that, in last 2 months, I have like 35 to 40, like every month, 35 to 40 people, usme bhi Gen Z have girls, they are following me. They have started following me because of this.
Nice. Um,
I,
th- that's really so. So connection is very important, I believe. Connecting with the
connection is
generation.
very important.
Absolutely. And I think one other thing that I would just add to that, working with some of the chic brands, what we have realized is uh, there is a lot of this generation definitely holds an opinion, right? And so there is a lot of segmentation. I think our generation, or rather my generation, Jaideep's generation, we did not have a lot of opinions. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but at least I did not have as many opinions when while growing up, and um, so I think the segments did not prevail as defined, and so if you are a Gen Z brand, what I would advise is try to find your niche, right? Whether you are more appealing to people, who appreciate sharper looks, people who appreciate, a hippie brand, people who appreciate, wisdom, beauty, opinions around gender neutrality, opinions around, nationalism. Uh, there are a lot of segments, and if you identify exactly which segment are you trying to sell to, and then create your content narrative around that, I have seen that to be working fantastically well, because it's an era of following, right? And so when they create, or when you create something that they find worthy to follow, then the audience is very sticky. But at the same time, when it is not rhyming with their thought process, then it is also as fragile of an audience today. And so I think that's a bit of my take on that. Jaideep, Parikh might have an opinion on that.
Can I
So,
just add?
adding to what Srijay said, you should also choose platform like Snapchat, so where millennials are very active compared to people like me, Srijay.
Absolutely.
So my
The
team pushed me a lot for Snapchat, and I one day I said, "मेरे से नहीं होगा."
Yeah, I think the coolness
Not
quotient
mentioned.
in that, right?
But still, if you want to focus that kind of audience, you should start being on Snapchat kind of platform, where you actually found younger kids, where you can pitch your product, you can be very cool, and you can show your product very cool, you can show your brand very cool. And one more thing Srijay said, so if you choose a topic like nationality, gender equality, you need to make sure your brand also follows that. So I seen one of the environment conference, there was plastic bottle there. So,
so being
so
authentic.
you need to align with your brand messaging as well before it backfires. So that 2 cent from my side.
Thank you so much. And Kena, you had a comment on that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that building a product for Gen Z is very, very easy, honestly speaking. आप कुछ हटके बना दो, prints डाल दो, ये कर दो. But, to match the pricing point is very difficult. Because right now, 1,000 rupees also you will get the dress and you will get the dress for 5-7,000. So creating product for Gen Z is very, very easy. But it depends on what kind of segment you want to cater. So I personally feel if I was building a brand around Gen Z, then it would be very easy for me. But because I'm focusing more on chic, classic, and elegant styles, so like people like Gen Z, obviously they want fast fashion. Like Zara is there, Myntra, whatever, Mango, and all other brands. But so I always feel Gen Z ke liye, if you're curating a product, then it is going to be like like this. Within a snap, generally, like the products get out of the rack.
Brilliant, perfect. So pricing is very important, and might not always mean low pricing, right? Because so sometimes you are like premiumly placing, and you have an audience for that. Might be as niche, but definitely a lot more profitable versus there is a larger youth that um, wants not to be seen in the same clothes again and again, and they might have a lower price point expectations, but higher on sort of buying behavior. So Udit, I think you raised the hand, you have an opinion on that.
Yeah, so I think one other thing that people often miss out is they're so focused, so heavily focused on just selling online that they forget that only 4% of the audience actually purchases online, right? 96% of audience in India still makes purchase offline. I think the best example, live example I can give you is of Zudio. Trend prices have shot up to the roof in the last couple of years. They're opening a new store every 3 days somewhere in India right now, and it's fast fashion, right? The target audience is Gen Z. They're trying to sell something that's extremely cheap, where you can get a t-shirt for just 200 rupees. Their goal is, they say that, hey, use it for a few times, trend is off, throw it off, buy a new one, right? So you have to understand all of those things. And one thing that a lot of people do not know, that a lot of these big brands, they outright buy your entire product stock. Go and talk to them, right? Go out of your home to crack the deals. If you're just going to sit on your laptop all day long thinking that you're going to build a unicorn, that's not going to happen, right? Go out of your home, talk to people, go on coffees, go on networking events, go and meet people. That's when you will make actual real money, and not by sitting online on your laptop and then just designing something, posting, and expecting why people are not buying my products. Do a bit of those hustles, and trust me, it's going to work out wonders for you.
Correct. I think that is an important point, right? Is don't ignore the mainstream. It is there for a reason. And while digital is picking up, there is definitely a humongous scope in beyond digital, and obviously why TV is still trying to, or is still able to charge the amount on ads per second, beyond what Meta can. I think it speaks volumes about still these channels being prevalent in a lot of cases. Um, we also have Pankaj Bhimani on the stage. Pankaj Bhimani has recently started a fantastic brand called 58 Miles. He has been a conventional business person for the longest period of time, doing cloud telephony and clothing business. And he's now venturing into a very, very niche product, which is backpacks for camera and photographers. So brilliant product. I obviously personally witnessed it. That is the only reason I would vouch for it. Apart from him being a great friend, he might have some questions. So I just brought him on stage. Anybody else who would also want to ask questions, please put that on chat, and I will bring you up on stage so we can have great conversations.
Hi Srijay. Hi everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. Sorry, I cannot switch on my camera. I'm on drip right now. So let me come to the question. So we were talking about Lofi and UGC content a lot. But there's a still we are seeing lots of branding and marketing is done with high end shoots and fashion models coming in picture, even in the traditional marketplaces, or in the offline mode also. What is the best way generating content around it? Is it still good to go with fashion models and high end shoots, or the low fee me and you in the video is going to take it over? Like what shall be the communication strategy for a new D2C brand?
Who would want to pick that up?
I would actually love to answer this.
Great.
So Pankaj bhai, you do not need fancy models, you do not need fancy marketing, you do not need any of those things, right? I'll give you the best example of someone who went viral last year, right? Who said this one line so beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow, right? Like just the one line, and today she's making crores of rupees in online sales, right? And that was actually a marketing statement that she did. So it's all about catching people's attention. So all you got to do is just mostly focus on your product. That's all, right? As long as you're focusing on your product, you will see that sales spiking up. So you do not need like crazy madness spending that 50 lakh rupees on a ad campaign, creating that ad and then pushing it online and all of those things. None of those things will guarantee success, but your product speaks for itself. So I think you just need to focus on those products and just start targeting your relevant audience. That's all you should be doing, and you're already seeing traction. You should just start scaling up on those traction.
Brilliant. Anybody else would want to chime in or move on to the next one? All right. I think we move on to the next one. There are plenty of questions which I love. So I don't have to moderate a lot. I have user-generated content in my favor right now. All right. MJ is asking if you could go back in time, what would you do differently around personal branding? If anyone, I'll start. Okay. So what I would do differently is, I think I will definitely, I would be less diplomatic, more opinionated. I think that is where the thought leadership gets built, right? So not aggressive pick up fights, but at the same time, sometimes you have a personality of people pleaser, and fortunately, I hold one. So I think being in a legal tech field, thought leadership is very important for us, right? And something that I've learned is, when you try to be a people pleaser, a lot of times in the consulting industry, you get taken for granted, right? And so this is what over time I have learned is, at times you have to act a little pricey is probably a bad word, but a little reserved to be able to get approached in a right manner or fashion. And I think everybody who is in the service industry would have felt that, because a lot of times people don't value time, right? They are like, oh yeah, there is somebody who is a phone call away at my convenience, and let me just take an opinion for and then I may apply or not, right? So your words may be valuable, but unless they implement that, it doesn't show the value. And what unfortunately happens is, when those words do not come at cost, and that may be cost in terms of money or in terms of anything else, right? You spend enough time, you come prepared with the questions or the context. So it doesn't have to be money all the time, but if there is no skin in the game for the person who is asking, typically that wisdom parting is not taken seriously. So I think that is something that I would do a little differently if I were to reshape myself, rewind myself for 10 years. I would definitely um, be more cautious on where do I spend my time, and how meaningfully. So that's my opinion on that. Jaideep bhai, take that up.
So, as the question about personal branding, so I mean, very short. I might, if I get a chance, I might video start very early and LinkedIn start very early. So, being seeing the potential of these two things, I was have my personal opinion. I would not do and all that stuff. But now I realize I'm little late to join the bandwagon. But still, I'm at the race of many. But still, if I got a chance to revisit, I'll do two things at early stage.
Brilliant. Perfect. We have plenty of questions, so we'll keep going through those. Um, um, Sayam has asked, so how to arrive at the right pricing? That is an extension to the question. Like, you can tell what strategy should you adopt and what not. So pricing is altogether a very different ball game, and Sayam, we will definitely hold another webinar on pricing strategies, part of the larger initiative uh, at the startup code. So we will reserve this question for that time, and there are plenty of structured and unstructured, or structured and discovery price points, and we will talk at length about that for sure. What are the key elements of a cold email that in case that increase the likelihood of response? And I think Udit is very suited for that. He runs a company for that. Spread your hotness, shy away from coldness. Go on.
I think there are few things that whenever you cold email anyone or cold DM anyone, right? First, I'll say few of the things that you shouldn't do, and then some of the things that you should do, right? The first thing you should never do is send an essay to anyone, right? No one has time to read an essay. I do this, I do that, this, that. I have 10,000 services. No one is interested, right? No one cares about what you have achieved. No one gives a damn about you. Let's be very honest, right? Stop talking about what you have done, what you have achieved in your life in that one email. No one cares. Make the email about them, right? Your email should never be beyond 3 lines. Even 3 lines at times is way too much. It should be just 1 or 2 lines at the very most. Sometimes it can be something as simple as, so let's say I have to reach out to Srijay, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Srijay, hey Srijay, I've built an amazing legal tech platform and I have a brand new report for you. Would you be interested? I can tell you Srijay will respond to that, right? It's just one line. It has value, so much value, that now I have created so much curiosity in Srijay that Srijay would be like, if I don't get this report, what will happen? My competitor will also be receiving this particular email, right? And to add to a twist, what you can do is you can add a PS at the end of the email that, hey Srijay, if you do not respond in 24 hours, I'm contacting your competitor. Now Srijay will
You
respond.
have a sense of urgency over there.
Right
Then the
now, I have
FOMO.
created curiosity, FOMO, regret of missing out. I have created everything. He will respond, and it's also very personalized, right? What did I do? I wrote only 2 lines to do that, right? So it's very important to understand whom you're sending and why you're sending emails. Once you have been able to crack this, forget about all kinds of that personalization, getting that data from LinkedIn, writing into that email. None of that crap works, right? Keep it about them, and like I said, just 1 or 2 emails. And once you get a response, at the end of the day, that's what matters. Now that you've gotten someone's response, now you engage with them. Now you can send them a deck. Now you can engage with them further, right? All of those activity happens, but first your focus should be providing value to people, right? And when you provide value, do not expect anything back from them, right? Once you have given a PDF, all you have to do is bit of follow up, but don't expect, hey, I have given you a follow up, now you have to get on a call with me. None of that thing. This is how you do outreaching, whether it's any kind of cold DMs on LinkedIn or anything. Now let's say even if you are reaching out to influencers, right? Now let's think like you're a brand and you want to reach out to an influencer. Again, create curiosity, make them excited about working with you. That's very important, right? People end up sending a lot of boring emails, right? Something like, hey Jaydeep, I hope you are doing well. He is doing well. Stop asking whether he's doing well or not. Just get straight to the point, because someone will only give 3 to 6 seconds of their life reading your email. And if you cannot catch their attention in like in 3 seconds, you can write all of the things like, hey, thank you so much, Jaydeep, and everything at the end of the email, right? The first line is everything. Just like when you create video, the first 6 second hooks are very important for the rest of the videos. Similarly, the same concept happens inside email as well. So this is how you write like FOMO driven emails. And like I said, even follow-ups, make it very short, precise, 2 lines, 3 lines. And also at the same time, sometimes create listicles, right? Like 2 lines in the form of listicles. And sometimes try to be a little funny. If you can be funny. So for example, one email outreach campaign that I always do is I use this amazing meme from Silicon Valley, right? Where the main guy is trying to look from a window and he's waiting for an approval. So I send that meme and I always get a very funny response. Oh my God, this is so funny, right? Because I send out emails to tech people, they are very familiar with the concept. So when you're adding those memes, make it relevant to their audience, right? So if you're sending out to Indian audience, maybe you can use some Bollywood memes out there, right? There are a lot of funny ones out there available. Add that, but again in the follow-ups. Now, there are some more very critical tips that you need to also remember, that let's say if you're sending out cold email, do not add any link in your first email. Please do not make that mistake. Do not add any kind of tracking, whether they have opened the email or not. Do not add any kind of tracking in the first email. Make it plain text. Your chances of delivery, of hitting the inbox, increases drastically because you have only text. You will skip on a lot of antivirus scans, a lot of malware scans from all of these platforms, ensuring that you are hitting those inbox, which is the most critical part. And lastly, when you are writing any kind of subject line, again keep it just 2 or 3 words. That's it. Again, create curiosity, right? So that's what you have to do. If you just do this, I'm telling you, you can read all the books, all the videos available, but I've just given you a simple crash course of what will work for you, giving you keeping all the 99% like random gyan aside. So just implement this. I'm telling you, it will get you business.
Very amazing. I'm going to try that from tomorrow. So thanks for sharing. And I'll double up on that. One small hack that at times we use is we do a lot of passive tinkering. So let's say you are on my email list and I'm targeting you, right? I would also create a meta audience of that audience, right? And start slowly nurturing that through my content. And so what happens with that is, let's say I've sent an email about trademark registration, right? I want to win you as a client for trademark registration. But then if you see me around, because there are so many options, right? So there are some other great competitors. There are a lot of professionals who provide the same service. A lot of times recall is what also matters a lot in marketing, right? And so if at all you have that budget bandwidth, with an email campaign, create a similar audience in Meta and serve them impressions with the right set of hitting content, right? And nurture them, and they will have a recall that, oh yeah, I saw something which was interesting on on LinkedIn or on Facebook and Insta, and that was from this brand. So that association at times also plays a good role. Just my extension to that thought. Amazing. I Anybody who would want to come up on stage and ask questions, Sanyam is here. Please raise your hands. And
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, I am.
So we have recently started a D2C brand into car sales. So basically, we are a solution for car lovers basically. So there is, I have my product to better understanding. So we basically have this miniature car models of iconic car. Okay. So we were struggling like to make UGC content for the like meta ads specifically, and to find influencers like who can make that for us.
Sorry, Sam, your voice is barely audible. Or is
Hello,
that just me?
hello. Am I audible right now?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
So basically, we are into car segment, car collectible segment, basically. So we are struggling to find basically UGC creatives and to find influencers who can make ad creatives for us. So how can I find the particular influencers in my niche?
Sim, I can give you one idea to create an amazing ad, right? I'm not charging you for this, by the way. Create a track, right? Have car and have a very zoomed in video of those cars moving, right? Then suddenly zoom out and say you can now own your dream car, right?
Okay.
So what will happen with this is you will right away get people's attention, and once you've gotten
Yes.
people's attention, people will come and will start buying all of these collectibles from you. Just try this ad. I'm telling you, it's going to work wonders for you.
Yeah, definitely would like to try that. Yeah.
In terms of UGC contents, like are you selling more to kids or you selling to like adults?
No adults basically.
Again,
So
you have to sell aspiration over here. There is no other way to like you have to start segmenting your audience, right? In terms of like adults as well, whom are you selling to? Why would they buy this, right? So what you have to do over here is you have to sell aspiration. So there are a bunch of audience out there who are aspiration, who are generally the ones who buy collectibles, right? So you have to segment that particular audience and start targeting those audience. There are various influencers out there who sells aspiration, right? So
okay.
look out for those audiences and then reach out to them. You will see far better success.
You need to be
Okay.
very pro with the storytelling because emotions really attract people to buy. So storytelling and make sure that the hook is very eye catchy. So it will grab quick attention.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay. Yeah, we
Also,
we
at
have.
times when you are trying to create a category, you might not find the audience relevant to that category right away because it doesn't prevail, right? So, as
Hmm.
a hack, a lot of times, as marketers, we also use audiences which are into similar. So the persona is similar, but the interest liking is different, right? So, to give you an example, somebody who is into trance music may like Himachal or Malana for obvious reasons, right? So,
Hmm.
so if you don't have an audience for trance, right, you might find audience for travelers to that region, and that becomes your target audience, right? So, so at times, just as a food for thought, you might not have audience readily available for you, but you might have people who have certain attributes or certain behavioral attributes that resonate more with your likely audience, and so you might want to play around with that a little bit.
There's one more suggestion that I can tell you, Sam. What you need to do is instead of just finding an influencer, partner up with them. Something like what Soul Store has done, right? Create their store on your store, and then tell them please go and push it to your particular audience and ask them to come on my website. And whatever sales happen, we can do 50-50 with that, right? Something like that. So that is going to work out. I think there is a brand known as Mecmerized or something like that that has done this brilliantly. I don't remember the name, but I think that's the name. They have done it absolutely brilliantly with a lot of Marvel and everything related products. They would reach out to a lot of these like brands and distributors and these influencers. They would create a sub brand. Nika did this, by the way, right? To start distribution, they created a separate line with some actress's name, and then they were just rebranding like, hey, this is a special edition, kind of like, right? Nike did that at the same time. I think Jordan is still one of the like number one selling
Absolutely, yeah.
product, right? So you can start doing this co-branding with a lot of these influencers in a way where you make them feel a partner, but not like an influencer. When you do that, they will feel, oh, I own a certain part of the business. You need to make people feel that they own a part of something, right? And if required, you can create a small influencer pool in the form of ESOP, and then kind of like also give a bit of equity to them. This is again, you need to be a little more aggressive and a bit more innovative, right? If you're gonna think you will be the one making all the money, that doesn't work. You need to learn to share the wealth to create wealth. The best example is Jeff Bezos, $1 trillion company. He owns 27%, but he has created wealth for 63% people, which is $630 billion for other people. So create wealth for other people, and you will create wealth in the process.
Brilliant. I think Pankaj Bhimani also has something to share along the lines. And Ketan Nashit has also shared his opinion in the chat. So, Sayam, you might want to check out that as well.
Right.
Pankaj, to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Sayam, what
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Yeah.
hi Pankaj again. So what we did actually, we are a camera backpack brand, so uh, we were also trying to reach out to so many influencers and not getting any response initially.
Mm.
So what I later understood, and it's again by accident, that because nobody was responding us, we had to reach out to one influencer who was taking some money, instead of barter. So we paid him and got the video ready. He sent us the video. Everything was good. He said, when you want to launch? And I said, when I will have at least 10 influencers with me, I want to launch it all together. But it took
Mm.
2 months to got another influencer on board. So this was going very slow. So frustrated, I told him, you put the video on. The day he put the video on, since then, every day we are getting 100 influencers reaching to us for the barter deal. So, you know, the easiest way is to, make one, put it in the market, right? And then because if it's an influencer is big, he or she is followed by those micro influencers, right? So
Mm.
then
Mm.
all those micro influencers wants to have that product, so they will be ready for the barter. Now in your category, especially, what I have seen, I was in Delhi recently. I met a company, I forgot the name. They make boxes for this shoe collectors,
Mm.
right? So that's again a shoe collection is what you call sneakers, and this Gen Z shoe brands, right? They are very big collective market. Those same kind of people do collect other items as well. So he said
Mm.
many of their customers who are buying boxes, this shoe collectible boxes, are buying for their Marvel toys, are buying them for their collectible, other collectible antique items, right? So mostly similar target audience in that category, which you can identify. So get one or two influencers who are doing good. Little bit of cost is involved for one or two videos initially, I guess, but then it will open. Like, we have a pool every day. We get so many messages that uh, easily you can see every message is ChatGPT generated collab request, but 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 good pool we have now.
Excellent. I
Just
think that's a good strategy. Sometimes you spend a little on getting the big boys in, and then it becomes an aspirational value for the micro influencers to join the bandwagon. So, uh,
Yeah.
thank you for that thought. Kenna, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add saying that this strategy really works with the influencer, because I read somewhere that the brand, I don't remember the brand's name, but they wanted to target Kendall Jenner. But what they did is, in fact, they gifted their product to one of her best friend, and she started feeling FOMO that I'm Kendall Jenner, and people are not reaching me out. So she waited for a few days, and then after few days, like she only got connected with the brand and said that I want to buy this product.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That I heard of that one. Uh,
yeah, so this is really something that, see, ab FOMO feel karao abhi FOMO is like like in all like Gen Z mein to bahut hi hai. And because because influencer, like every now and then you will see influencers, like, and they are coming up, like anyone calls themselves influencers, right? So आप कोई अच्छे influencer को जो आपको लगता है कि like they can help you achieve results, then like we all discussed, you should go ahead with them and use this strategy. It really works well.
Absolutely. Brilliant. I think Sonam had a question, so she's here on stage with us. Welcome, Sonam.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. So, my name is Sonam, and some of you might know Paperclip Design. We are a design studio in Ahmedabad, and we've been part of the entire ecosystem for like 5 6 years. But now we also want to get into the design education system because we have learned the hard way. Like, I didn't go to a design school. I'm self-taught. I was a photographer, economist, and then I was also into physics and chemistry, and then finally moved to UX UI. So we think that there is a huge market, especially for young people who don't know about design and they come in very later on. And then they know what design is because initially you only think design is just architecture or fashion design. But there's a whole user experience design, which is what all of us are also doing on the social media. That's what we are creating. That's how we are connecting. So the thing is, it's a very new thing. We just launched it on 7th of September, and I'm like heading it. But the thing is that when you initially start any campaign on social media, you get a ramp because you have your friends and family, everybody, trying to push you. But then there is a slump. So how do you keep that momentum going? What are the things that you can recommend that will keep the momentum high? Because that's a really good booster for us also to keep looking at you know, how people are really engaging. So what are the things that we can do? I'm really new to social media marketing. Just trying to understand what are the ropes to this.
Absolutely. Who is taking that up? Jaideep, you would want to take that up?
So let me rephrase your question. So you want to understand how you generate leads for your education vertical, right?
Yeah, just keep the momentum of it going. So we had like a lot of traction. When you launch something, you always have like a pre-launch thing, and then you have the eyeballs. But it's so difficult to keep those eyeballs in this day and age. Like every day doing something. So there is a point where people are just going to forget about it. So you need to keep on, being visible. So if there are any tips or things or tricks, to have those eyeballs keep on going, because that's what's eventually going to help us spread what we are trying to do.
So Sonam, first you need to understand, I mean, all eyeballs are not for you.
Hmm.
So your ICP, we generate like ideal customer profile. Your ICP eyeballs matters to you, and out of that ICP, certain percentage you are able to convert. So few days back, I wrote a post on LinkedIn. We do lot many lead generation. So 5% we spend time to explain the client sub lead convert nahi hoga
Right.
kind of stuff. So this is how we as a marketer we need to understand sub lead convert neo kind of stuff. So what I can suggest you, one, try to generate content which resonate with your potential user. Like when we talk about education in India especially, they want to understand कितना पैसा मिलेगा, क्या salary मिलेगा, what are the 5 year goals, kind of stuff, what are the opportunities are. You can share a lot many case studies around the world, a highest paid designer, or you talk broadly about design. So the superb example of UX UI, like I was talking with one of a client and they want to choose out of two design we suggested, and they say आप क्या suggest करते हो? I said you should go with white background, which was the design, and she asked why you are suggesting this one. So the my answer was, if you go to any premium design things, you go to Apple, you go to Gucci kind of stuff, so they are using white background more. So simple is more complex. So this is why we are suggesting you this design. So this kind of language, this kind of talk you need to do on various. I mean, when I say talk, it's content. So it might be video content, it might be text content, any content. But you should keep talking about this, so people will try to resonate with you. So you when you say design, so they recall Sonam as a brand or whatever brand you want to
Evolve,
focus on.
Evolve is the brand, yeah.
Yeah. So
Brilliant.
this is how you need to evolve the things. And for lead gen, I will suggest you should go with Google Ads. So that will help you better. A proper landing page with, as you are UX a person, so proper landing page with good UX and good SEO things. And Google Ads will help you to generate leads for you. That's
Excellent.
from my side.
Um,
I've shared
Perfect. And
something. I've
sorry,
shared
go ahead, Udit.
shared an image over here because I pretty much launched my entire life, right? That's what I've done. So I think this curve is going to help you understand, Sonam. Just download that launch curve,
Yeah.
right? Aim for the S curve and not the D curve, right?
Okay.
So what happens is that your actual customers are not going to come during initial stages.
Mm.
It's going to come at a later stage when there is no hype, And when you actually start generating your campaigns, your top of the funnels, when you start creating all of those, and when your actual users start entering the top of the funnels, will eventually become your actual customers, right?
Mm.
What you're talking about is something known as early adopters, right?
Mm.
Early adopters are hyped about everything in general, right? So if they see something very exciting, they would want to try it out, right? But that does not necessarily mean that they will be your actual customer. So don't focus on that while you're focusing on the great launch to get initial traction. Once that traction curves down, then sit down and analyze your data. Who has actually signed up, right? So let's say that if you have pushed a service or a new product, for an example, and there is 10,000 signups that comes in, out of the 10,000 signups, 100 customer converts. Now sit down and analyze who those 100 customers are, their TG, their audience, where they came from. Now you start creating funnels around those 100 customers and then try to start scaling up on the S curve. Now, when you start the next hype around it, right?
Right.
Now, the next 10,000 signups that come in, you will see 1,000 actual customers converting, because now that audience is far more relevant, right?
Mm.
So it's kind of like iPhone. When first iPhone was launched, how many people actually bought? Right? It was the fourth iPhone that started getting actual real traction in the world. Then the sixth one started getting further traction. Then the seventh one, eighth, ninth, 10th was all failed. Then 11th and 12th started getting further traction. Then barely anyone bought 13th, and some 14th, and now 15th is where people bought again. 16, hardly anyone is buying right now, right? So this is how curve cycle works, right? And it is for bigger brands as well, that innovation takes time. You
Mm.
cannot innovate so rapidly every single year, and this is why Apple just, if you look at their hype videos as well, they will just talk about one thing. They will say the word new 1,000 times in their entire video so that it's feeded in your brain. So you have to start working on your copywriting skills over here rather than trying to focus on anything else, right? So this is why I said keep focus on your top of the funnel rather than anything else, and it will always work for you. So focus on your S curve all the time if you want to grow your brand.
Brilliant. I think that is absolutely a great advice. Um, and so we are towards approaching towards the end. We'll probably take a question or two. But before that, obviously, since we are talking about scaling digitally, I have to slide in the whatever that is, the UGC, right? We try to create a lot of content in next 3 months as part of ECHI and LegalViz co-branded events, the Startup Code. We will have a lot of different topics that we would want to cover. Also, you can go to ECHI's page and suggest a topic that you would want. So the format of this is we'll do a larger, sort of topics on a weekly basis, and then there are a lot of different topics which are very niche and specific that we would try and address in between, right? And there might be like a smaller audience, very specific, sort of questions being answered on that. That's the whole idea of making it. So, while ECHI focuses heavily on community-driven initiatives, a lot of pro bono events, LegalViz aligns with that on making it accessible and making it, making the reach go worthwhile. So, having said that, definitely feel free to visit ECHI's page on the Startup Code and suggest any topic that you would want us to cover. Having said that, on the UGC front, definitely we are going to ask for a favor where if you find this content very helpful, then definitely create content around it. Take a screenshot of this session. Please give us a shout out so we stay encouraged to produce more content like this. Only if it is helpful to you, obviously. So that would be a
I will just
great
like
help.
to add one thing, and
Absolutely.
I'll give another great hack to everyone. If you actually create a content around today, and let's say tag Jaydeep, Srijay, Ken, and me, right? So we combined might have like close to around I don't know, 50, 60, 70,000 plus followers, right? If
Correct. And K Manish also has.
four of us likes your content, that alone will help your account to reach to the 70,000 plus people. So I'm just giving you a great hack in terms of how LinkedIn works precisely. This will not work on any other platform, but this works great on LinkedIn. Use it while it lasts.
Brilliant. So absolutely, please do that.
I was about to share the same hack.
And Kumar Manish and Manoj Advani was also part of the speaker panel. So definitely, we would highly appreciate if and there are a lot of folks who are very influential in the digital space over here. So it might just help you as well. It might help us getting that popularity so that we can do better work. And obviously stay candid with your opinion. If you liked it, you liked it. You didn't like it. There is no harm in voicing that as well. So, but as long as you have an opinion, obviously that's a Gen Z trait we recently found out. Have an opinion and express your opinion. So thank you so much. I think Nilesh Pansali, the last question that we would then take up is he's running a web development agency, and he's trying it difficult, or he's finding it difficult to retain the customer's interest or the lead's interest beyond the first conversation. Jaideep Parikh wants to take that up. Make it very brief.
Nilesh,
I have to
based on your
attend
personal
dinner with my
experience,
in-laws, so you sense the urgency with that.
Nilesh, based on a personal experience, we lost a client, international clients, I guess 8-9 years back. The simplest hack was that we were doing managing SEO for their e-commerce website, and at that time they used to sell $1 million sell a month. And we found one keyword which was, we asked why we are not having a page for this thing, and they say we already have page, but we categorize a different keyword. So there are two keywords. One say X thing, second one say Y thing, and Y is having higher search volume. So we asked them, should we replace X with Y keyword? And they say, okay. We send an email, we got a confirmation, we change the things, but we forget to mention that while doing this exercise, we will lost traffic of X keyword, and it will take some time to build traffic for Y keyword. And due to that, they lose some sales. So and we lost that client. So based on this example, we understand when we deal with international client, their SOPs are very much required. And like India, we say ho jayega. That doesn't work in international market. You need to give projection for next week, next month, next quarter. Depends on your engagement cycle, etc. And you need to do not clear, but yes, some picture for future. I mean, downline depends on your engagement for a week or for a quarter or for a month kind of stuff. And you need to align some benchmark kind of step up thing. So in first week we'll do X thing, in first 15 days we'll do Y thing kind of stuff. So I'm not sure where you are lacking, but if you're lacking on this aspects, so this is I observe with lot many domestic companies or domestic agency. So that is my assumption. You might, if you are facing this issue, so try to sort out that issue. And second, you need to when we deal with international, they need lot many clarity. So if you're both the side, if the things are not clear, then it might also possibility to backfire the things.
Brilliant. So I also run an agency called Hire for Hire Consulting. Work with some excellent clients. So I'll just try to chime in on that. Three things, and couldn't resist. One is address the hard talks first. A lot of times, what we do is when we are in a proposal phase, we shy away from talking about things which might break the deal, and that makes us invest a lot of time just to realize that the deal was always meant to be broken, right? For example, pricing. We are like, yeah, pricing to dekh lenge, sir, aapke liye kya hai, right? Eventually, sabke liye hota hi hai. So try and address the things which could be deal breaker in the initial stage of the conversation, right? That saves your time. That also saves somebody else's time. While you are thinking that you might waste a lot of time getting into that nurturing phase and eventually drop off, you might come to a realization that samne wali party is also thinking the same way, right? That if I had known this before, it would have saved me a lot of time. So you want to sometimes address the elephant in the room to shy away from that bitterness later. The second thing is, if at all you are working with international clients, get rid of brown skin syndrome. Right? Never sell yourself for low. Make sure that you command as good of an authority. It is a two-way street. Nobody's favoring anybody. Everybody is working for achieving a collective goal. And so go in with that mindset, right? How can you be an extension to your client's team rather than you assuming yourself submissive at the point where you would think that it's a favor by getting awarded a contract. So make sure that you have a level playing field for yourself, and that will change a lot of things. That has changed a lot of things for me over time. The third thing that I would say is create thought leadership. Right? Invest in parting knowledge which is relevant for the target audience. Right? I'll give you a great example where over last couple of years we have been trying to organically build a brand called Bummer. Right? And I'm typically not very vocal about our clients because we had never served Indian clients before. Right? So while it was a far-fetched dream to kind of rank on every possible keyword over Jockey and Amazon, right, we did that in a lot of different cases, as short as underwear or bikini for Bummer, right? And then I had a single post on my LinkedIn that talked about that journey, right? What was our approach? How did we figure that out? Right? As Udit said, I also tagged Sulay, who is the founder, and he reverted back that it has been a phenomenal journey. Right? Now, what happens is there is a claim, there is a confirmation to the claim, and everybody else who is a startup is trying to get in touch because they also want to see the similar journey. It is an aspiration sold. Right? So try to narrate these kind of stories, try to fabricate these kind of achievements that you can highlight on social media. Overhype is not great, but staying with the facts and making sure that you create enough of an interest, right? It helps a lot. So absolutely, I think those are the three things that I think works as a pivotal thing in selling to clients in the services industry. Udit, if you would want to have any opinion on that or closing remark, and then we'll all have a nice, good dinner.
So actually, like I have been facing problems with website because, like how to generate more sales from there and everything. So this conversation from Jaideep Bhai and Udit Bhai, it was like, now I understand, and now, I know whom I have to contact.
Aspiration sold, client.
Yeah, because every time, like, so mine is omni channel, right? So when it comes to website, so I do get sales, but like I want to increase the sales, obviously. So when I work with like the agency and everything, like they try to, because I'm not a tech person at all. I highly depend on my agency, my team, So whatever they sell, I buy it because obviously I don't know much about it. I do try to understand. I understand the figures and everything, and I try, like questioning them and all. But it was a very insightful session, and I really liked and loved to be part of it.
Brilliant. Loved the conversations, and I think with that we sort of come to the
Just like
closure. Sorry, yeah, Udit, absolutely.
one
All
line.
yours.
If you want to sell, stop selling. That's when you will actually start selling. If you just
Absolutely.
remember this one quote of mine, you will make money.
I think that is very powerful. Demonstrate your work, create enough curiosity, thought leadership. Don't be salesy, and I think it works like a magic. So
I think I was doing this mistake before a year, like a year back, but now, with styling and the knowledge and experience and everything, now the things have changed. Like now I'm not selling. Now I'm just like more interested in adding value. अपने आप ही customer आ जाता है. Because they see the authenticities, they see they believe that they trust you, and then they know that you are an expert in this field, whatever you are doing. So it is really helping that ways, and I feel very happy, when I can add value to people in people's life and educate them with something which is actually the truth and not the myth.
Brilliant. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending time with us. And, obviously 2 hours, not a short time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for parting your knowledge, for your questions. Hopefully, we could do justice with that. Thank you, all the speakers, Jaideep Parikh, Udit Goenka, Kena Shah. We had Manoj Advani and also Kumar Manish with us. Pankaj Bhimani had a cameo appearance. Thank you, everyone, for spending this time. I hope this content is valuable, and it brings a change in your journey. We will look forward to more such content pieces that we create over next 3 months, and I hope that positively impacts on your entrepreneurial journey. Everybody keep hustling, have fun. The sense of community is always the most important thing. So stay connected with people. Feel free to share LinkedIn requests in the chat box. A lot of people have dropped their contact coordinates, so refer to those. And there is nothing like being a community and vouching for each other's strengths, and support everybody in growing the business. When you are on your own, you are on your own. When you are with people who back you, you have an army you have a brigade of people who takes you through tough waters. So keep sharing, keep the community sense alive, and we'll look forward to having you all on the next episode. Thank you so much for having us. Signing off today.
Bye bye.